Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say this film was very unique, and I will never see senior homes the same ever again. So thank you for that.
You're
Um,
welcome.
but I want to own in on the tone and the atmosphere. All the scenes were so scary and eerie. I think it was actually the location. Was there any backstory on the actual senior homes, or like, did you guys choose that place for a particular reason?
It's a great question, Stephanie. It was a hard one. We couldn't find it, to be quite honest. We actually thought about, I wanted to shoot in the tri-state area because I wanted to pull from the New York theater community for the casting of the residents of the home. So I was really dead set on staying here. 4 months, we couldn't find anything. We were looking everywhere. And then finally, my location guy found this place. And we didn't have enough money to build. So that became a problem too. We couldn't build anything. So when he found it, I was like, as soon as I saw it, it's like, this is the place. This is eerie. It's creepy. This is going to save me so much work because it's already built into the piece. The dread. They had these long hallways, like epic,
Yes.
so big, and the hallways was so long. So the end, there's something you have to get lucky, I think, in location scouting. And I think it becomes almost like we always say the cinema gods are smiling upon us today because I do feel that without that location, I don't think the movie fully would have worked. I don't know what I would have done. I really believe that. And like great movies like The Shining, I don't, that's one of the great locations of all time, or even Amityville Horror. You can't imagine what those movies are without those locations. I'm not saying this is, the same kind of thing, but we felt that we got very lucky here with this
Oh
location.
yeah. But speaking of that too, like the atmosphere, because it was everything was so eerie, whether intentional or not, was there anything that like, with the casting, were there anything that like they did that was so well improved or surprised you while filming with them? Because everybody did such a phenomenal job.
That's great to hear. Thank you for that. And I'll tell them that you said that. Yeah, you know what? I got so lucky. I wanted to pull from the theater community, and we got the most amazing actors who wanted to come and play in this. A lot of them had never made horror before, so they've been around forever, but they didn't do horror, so they were very excited, and they were very excited to work with Pete, which was very cool. So yeah, there was some great moments, and you've seen the movie, so I could say this was ad libbed. I can't. One of my favorite moments in the movie is when Bruce Altman character who plays Dr. Sabian, he first meets Pete Davidson, and he just says to him, "You have beautiful eyes." I don't know if you remember that moment, and it's very odd. And I remember being on set going, "What is it's the straight?" Because I always tell the actors on a certain take, I'm like, "You guys play with the dialogue, like open it up, make it your own." And I don't make them say exactly what's in the script. I like them to own it, and then
Yeah.
they could flip a little and play. Because I have editing where I could figure it all out, and but Bruce added this amazing little moment, which I think is in the trailer where he says, "You have beautiful eyes," and Pete's reaction's wonderful. She didn't expect it. So we get these little moments like that throughout when you're working with actors of that caliber, where they throw you these little moments. And that was one of the ones that I just fell in love with. I'm like, this is brilliant. And we kept it in the movie, which is great. Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah, I would. Yeah, if again, if just everyone, this is just a tribute to how amazing everyone did. But I want to own in more on like the symbolism of the film, the masks. I know you're no stranger to the masks, and in fact, I love that element. And I think there was moments in here where I can safely say this. There were subtle moments where the masked figures showed up, of course, in a different way. But what about it? What about masks draws you in? And should we be paying even more close attention when the masks show up?
I think, yeah, well, I don't want to say what the first there's a mask early in the film. And I think it's quite telling if you stare at it and what it's depicting, that first mask. Again, I don't want to give too much, but it is a clue into what ultimately the reveal is, I think. So I don't want to, that's all I can say. So if people really stare at the first mask, I do think it's a nice clue into the reveal of the final reveal of the movie in the last 15 minutes. But I love masks personally. Why I use them in the Purge is ever since I was a little boy, I've hated masks. My mom said Halloween was freaked me out. I would scream, I would go bananas, and because I didn't. And what I finally realized about masks was that I don't like not seeing a person's. It's also why I hate speaking on the phone. Not that I should give too much personal details about myself, but I don't like seeing a person's expression. I find it very creepy, and
Yeah.
I get very worried about and nervous about what they're, on the phone or behind a mask. Maybe the expression is completely different than what the voice is. Or maybe they're snarling at me when their voice is smiling at me. So I don't like the anonymity of it all. I need to know what. So I like seeing your face right now. I don't like to not see someone's face when I'm speaking to them. And I think I incorporate masks because they hide true intent, I'd say. The true
Yes.
intent of the person is hidden, and I think there's nothing more terrifying than that.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of like hidden things, right? I feel like there was a lot of thematic things of like hidden things in this film, which again, I was not expecting any of that. And I kind of want to talk a little bit more about like rituals, hidden things. And I know you talked about cults in another interview, and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. It makes so much sense why they asked you that question. But I want to dive further into that. Was there any cults in particular that have always fascinated you and you think about in the work that you do?
I think I'm so I think almost everything I do, and I don't this would take another you and I would have to talk for many hours. Um, is the Manson cult is what I think affected a lot of my work. Now I know it's not anything like the cult in this movie, but it's what got me started on kind of diving into the cult world. And ever since, because the reason behind the Manson cult, what affected me so much is I was a very nice little boy apparently, and my second grade teacher told my parents to show me a mini series on TV about Manson called Helter Skelter. So that night they were supposed to sit with me because I was very nice to strangers, and the
Yeah.
teachers like, oh, he better learn there's bad people in the world. Long story short, they made me watch this. Well, my parents had to leave because my aunt gave birth, so I was left alone. I should have been supervised. I saw this Manson movie at a very young age when I shouldn't have, and I think it affected all my writing.
Oh
And
my gosh.
long story short, I became not obsessed with cults. Cults terrified me. I saw the power of cults. I've studied cults, and
Yeah,
I
of
thought it was quite
course.
interesting. So, and Rosemary's Baby, I always felt was another great influence on me. And the uh,
Mm.
the satanic cult in that movie was terrified me as a young boy, and that was a big inspiration here too.
Well, speaking of like the supernatural elements too, because there's also supernatural elements without giving too much away. Was
Yeah,
there any urban legends or hometown urban legends that you're like, oh my God, like, and because I feel like urban legends and mythology inspire a lot of works in the horror community.
interesting. No, there was no specific legend. No specific. The only urban thing. It's not an urban legend. This is kind of a more modern thing. Was that the longevity craze that has taken over the world? I think now.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with your question, but if anything inspired it, the longevity craze became a big thing for me. Not that maybe one day will be an urban legend that we can all live to 120, like the billionaires of the world are saying, but that became one of the big inspirations early on. But no, God, I wish I had a better answer to that, Steph. I don't have that.
You're
Yeah.
good. I know we have less than a minute left, so I just want to say thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
And I enjoy this film. I just, yeah, I really kept thinking about it after the fact.
Great questions. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Great.